from Srimad Bhagavatam, 12th canto, chapter 3, the age of deterioration, and verse number 51. Kalehe doshanidehe rajan kaler doshanide rajan asti hi ekaha mahan गुणः अस्ति एको महान गुना कीर्तनात् एव कृष्णस्य कीर्तनादेव कृष्णस्य मुक्तसंगः परं व्रजेत मुक्तसंगः परं व्रजेत कलेर्दोष निदे राजन अस्ति हि एको महान गुणः कीर्तनादेव कृष्णस्य मुक्तसंगः परं व्रजेत कलेर्दोष निदे राजन अस्ति हि एको महान गुणः कीर्तनादेव कृष्णस्य मुक्तसंगः परं व्रजेत कलेर्दोषनिधे राजन् अस्ति एको महान गुणः कीर्तनादेव कृष्णस्य मुक्तसंगः परं व्रजेत कलेर्दोषनिधे राजन् अस्ति एको महान गुणः कीर्तनादेव कृष्णस्य मुक्तसंगः परं व्रजेत कलेर्दोषनिधे राजन् अस्ति एको महान
संगः परं कले दोषानिधे राजन् अस्ति हि एको महान गुणः कीर्तनाद एव कृष्णस्य मुक्तसंगः परं व्रजेत
दोषनिधे राजन् अस्ति हि एको महान गुणः कीर्तनादेव कृष्णस्य मुक्तसंगः परं व्रजेत
निर्दोषानिधे राजन् अस्ति हि एको महागुणः कीर्तनादेव कृष्णस्य मुक्तसंगः परं व्रजेत
Of the age of Kali, Doshanidehe, the ocean of falls. Rajan, O king. Asti, there is. He, certainly. Ekaha, one. Mahan, very great. Gunaha, good quality. Kirtanat, by chanting. Eva, certainly. Krishnasya, of the holy name of Krishna. Mukta Sangaha, liberated from material bondage. Param, to the transcendental spiritual kingdom. Vrajet, one can go. Translation, purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. My dear king, although Kali Yuga is an ocean of falls, there is still one good quality about this age. Simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, one can become free from material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom. Translation with repetition. My dear king, although Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults, there is still one good quality about this age. Simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one can become free from material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom. So, purport. After mentioning the innumerable faults of this age of Kali, Shukadeva Goswami now mentions its one brilliant aspect. Just as one powerful king can kill innumerable thieves, one brilliant spiritual quality can destroy all the contamination of this age. It is impossible to overestimate the importance of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, especially in this fallen age. Thus ends the Transcendental Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So tomorrow we have a very special festival called Sri Gaura Purnima, that is to celebrate the divine appearance day of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than Lord Krishna himself, who advented about 500 years ago in Navadvip, West Bengal, to spread the Hare Krishna Mahamantra as a Yuga Dharma. So tomorrow is a very auspicious day. We will have very special festivities in the evening. There will be Abhishekam, Kirtan, Pallaki Utsav, Arati, special lecture and prasadam and so on and so forth. So we request everyone to come and participate tomorrow evening. The festivities will start from 4:30 p.m. As part of these festivities, we are also discussing some of the significant aspects about the festival and about Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we already had 2 lectures which describe about the glories of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is the 3rd one today, and tomorrow morning we will have one more lecture, and in the evening there will be one more presentation, audio video presentation. So we are discussing about Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Have you heard about Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Did you hear about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? No? Okay. So Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than Krishna himself, and so as we are aware of various other incarnations of Lord, like Lord Krishna, Rama, Narasimha, not everyone is as much aware about Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But it is very important to know about Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and why so we will try to discuss a little more today. So today we were looking at this one verse called so in order to understand Kali Yuga, or in order to understand Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is very important for us to understand where are we living, in what age are we living, because sometimes it is not easy to understand what is right so easily unless we don't see what is not so right. So this verse it says Kaler Dosha Nidhe Rajan. So in this verse Sukadeva Goswami, the speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam, is informing Maharaj Parikshit. So and therefore he is addressing Rajan, O king, and he is saying the different qualities of Kali Yuga, and towards the end mentioning, so this entire chapter talks about the different qualities of Kali Yuga, and towards the end, after describing all the ill effects of Kali Yuga, Sukadeva Goswami is telling there is one still good quality. But before even telling good quality, he is saying Kaler Dosha Nidhe Rajan. So Dosha Nidhe is translated as in the ocean of faults. So ocean is considered to be endless. No one can see its beginning or end. Maybe one can see one corner of it, but one cannot see where it is expanding, how far it can go, how deep it is, we cannot conceive. That means it is so big for us to fathom. Similarly, it is being said that this Kali Yuga is such an age where it is filled with faults. Faults that are there are a couple of chapters in Srimad Bhagavatam which exclusively describe the ill effects or the faults of Kali Yuga. So, Kali Yuga is such that the word Kali is translated as quarrel, age of quarrel. So, Srila Prabhupada, when he describes age of Kali, Prabhupada uses different terms to describe the age of Kali. So, one of the characteristics of Kali Yuga is quarrel. So, quarrel is something which is present everywhere. Srila Prabhupada says that if you open a newspaper, you will see quarrel. You will see different news of quarrel. Now, even if you look today's newspaper, you will see there is a war between different countries. We will see there is a fight between different political parties. Not only that, we will see there is fight between two states. Not only that, we will see there is a fight between one community and another community. We will not only see that, we will also can experience and see there is a fight between one family and another family. Not only that, within the family there is a fight. Between individuals, two individuals, there is a fight. And this fight is said to happen not for some very important, very big reason. This fight happens for very trivial matters, insignificant things. Just for no reason, there is always fight. So, one can imagine what is the condition of a person who is living constantly with quarrel with others. Just like you can see war, how disturbed people are, they are not sure what is coming next to them. Very, very perplexed. So, similarly, the age of Kali is such, without or with just slight provocation, there is quarrel for issues which are not significant. So, this age is known as age of quarrel, and there is always quarrel over minor things. So, as soon as there is quarrel, there has to be anxiety. So, this age is filled with anxiety. No one can be free from anxiety. And in another place, Prabhupada says that age of Kali Yuga means age of disagreement. Age of disagreement means two people will not agree to the same thing. If you tell one, they will say, no, this is not right, this is right. So, again, if you look at newspaper, you will see all issues of disagreement. Someone will say election should happen same time, someone will say this award should go to this person, someone will say this award should not go to this person. Disagreement everywhere. Even for small things we disagree. And this disagreement also leads to quarrel. And this disagreement exists because everyone has their own theory of life. Everyone thinks they know the right theory of life, and everyone else should follow their theory of life. So, because of this kind of disagreement, no one agrees with one another, and there is always a disturbance between two individuals or two communities, and so on and so forth. So, Prabhupada further says that because of this, it is very difficult for people to come to one understanding of philosophy. People are not willing to give up their philosophy, their theory, to understand the real philosophy or real truth. And therefore, in this age, people find it very difficult to accept the teachings of the Vedic literatures, because they disagree with everything. Very difficult to come to the right conclusion by philosophy and other methods. So, Prabhupada says, because of this disagreeing tendency that is so prevalent, it is very difficult for people to come to conclusive understanding. Just like yesterday, I was meeting with some students, some undergrad students at Harvard, and one of the students asked me a question that what is the meaning of life? And then I went to meet another student. I said, what is the meaning of life? You tell. So he said, there is no meaning of life. What you like, you can do. What he likes, he can do. There is no necessary to have a meaning of life. You see? So everyone comes with a certain philosophy, and one is so rigid that this is the right philosophy. So if you were to convince, then the other person whom I was talking was a Buddhist, and he had a different philosophy. There is nothingness to the life at all. So in this way, everyone has their own philosophy, so it is very difficult to even tell some simple things for people to do or understand. Then Prabhupada says, this is an age of hypocrisy. People say one thing, they do another thing. You can see all over the world, there are so many politicians who will say that we will take care of you, we will provide you with all the facilities, we will do development. But what actually happens is something else. We think we are getting real education, but we are getting some skill-based education without teaching us the real education. The leaders of the society will not follow the norms. The leaders of the society will have their own interests. So they are not really governing people for their well-being, but they are governing so that they get a position and they are enriching their own lives with enjoyment, money, and so on and so forth. So this age is age of hypocrisy. Then Prabhupada says this age is also an age of ignorance. People are very slow in spiritual understanding. So people are very slow in understanding. They are interested in all the subject matters, but when it comes to understand spiritual life or spend some time for spiritual life, people do not consider it to be important. Just like I was talking to another devotee, and he was mentioning that he was meeting some business people, and he was telling how in India these business people start in Mumbai early in the morning at 5 a.m. They go to their places of work, which is 2 hours or so, or even more farther, and they come back in the night. So they are willing to spend all their efforts, hard work, to maintain the body very well, to make some money. But if they call the same people, please come to the temple, visit, learn some spiritual knowledge, apply it in your life, practice some spiritual practices, they will say there is no time. So you can see ignorance. We are busy for everything else, but we are not busy for the right thing. Age of ignorance. Then Prabhupada also says this is an age of corruption. So we can see all the governments all over the world, people thought that we will have democracy, we will have modern civic rules, moral laws, so many mechanisms to check corruption, but it is not possible to avoid corruption. Not only corruption in terms of money, but there is also corruption in terms of the spiritual values. The so-called spiritual leaders will corrupt the real spiritual essence to support their own agenda. So therefore, it becomes very difficult for people to have God realization in this age. It is very difficult for people to achieve perfection of life in this age. It is very troublesome. Actually, sometimes because we live in this temple and we have been practicing the spiritual practices as given by Lord Chaitanya, Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada, sometimes we are aloof from the real effects of Kali Yuga. And therefore, sometimes we may not appreciate what actually we are going through or what we are having with us. But it is sometimes very helpful to actually reflect back what was our life before this journey that we took to practice Krishna consciousness. What is the life of people in general? Just like my brother was admitted to a hospital, he is trying to earn some money, but so much of stress. Just see. And so much of, he is doing a startup and so much of trouble with people that he is handling that he has to be admitted to a hospital. So much trouble for so little thing. Yet we do not recognize where are we going. So Prabhupada writes in one of the other lectures, or he speaks in another lecture, that he says that we must see whether our every activity, is it giving us gain or is it giving us loss? Is it making us free or is it making us bonded? And Prabhupada says, what is the criteria for us to know whether it is giving us gain or is not giving us a gain? Prabhupada says the criteria is whether am I understanding myself? Am I understanding why am I suffering in this world? Who am I? What I am supposed to do? If these questions do not become clear by our activities, all those activities are said to be a failure. And in this age, everyone is busy trying to achieve things which are only leading one to a failure, in the real sense of spiritual activities, in the sense of really finding oneself freedom from the sufferings. Everyone is undergoing so much suffering, and no one knows how to come out of it. And one is rather doing activities which are only prolonging those difficulties. So, in such a condition, to find a way out seems impossible for many. One is the circumstances and then the weaknesses of the individual. In earlier yugas, if one were to practice spiritual life, one has to live a solitude life. One would go to pilgrimages like Vrindavan, Haridwar, Rishikesh, Prayag, different pilgrimage places. They would stay there in solitude and practice spiritual life. Today, who is willing to go to a pilgrimage place, and how many are willing to live a simple life, focus completely on spiritual life? Very difficult. Everyone is busy with so many occupations, so much loans they take. There is no way till the life ends you can come out of the cycle of loan. So we are all bound so much. Brahmacharya has to be practiced. One has to live a life of celibacy to make real advancement in spiritual life. One has to follow austerity, a lot of tapasya to make advancement in spiritual life. So all these characteristics are very, very difficult to find in individuals today. And therefore, for the common mass of people, it is almost impossible to understand the ultimate truth. Not only impossible, it is unfathomable. You cannot even think that there is some possibility like this, there is something like this we should do. So, considering this age, in an age where there is so much quarrel, there is so much of disturbance, there is so much of anxiety, the lifespan is so short, all the good qualities are diminishing, truthfulness, mercy, charity, austerity, all these qualities are diminishing. So, in such an age, it is very difficult to understand the highest truth and find freedom from the troubles or the problems of material life. So, for this reason, when we can little more appreciate that what this Kali Yuga is, that actually helps us to understand better what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is doing. Because in previous ages, so there are 4 yugas: Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga. In Satya Yuga, all people were religious 100%, and there was no vice. So people could meditate. The lifespan was much larger, 100,000 years. So they could meditate on Lord Vishnu, and they were all very peaceful. They were in the mode of goodness. So it was easy for them to practice spiritual life. Then in Treta Yuga, there was 75% of religious qualities, and then 25 vices, 25%. Yet people could still do yagnas and other sacrifices and make spiritual advancement. When in Dwapar Yuga, there is 50% vice and 50% religious principles. And there was temple worship, gorgeous temple worship, by which people were making advancement. But in Kali Yuga, it's 25% and decreasing day after day. So even if you look just 100 years back, 50 years back, 20 years back, we can see how much there is change in the society. Now, with each passing day, there is so much change in the society. And it's becoming even more difficult for people who are coming to be free from the influence of the world outside in a negative way to actually lead a life which is necessary to make spiritual progress. So, considering all this difficulties. In fact, this entire chapter, the third chapter of 12th canto, which is known as Bhumi Gita, Mother Earth is telling the difficulties. In fact, Sukadeva Goswami is narrating those difficulties in the age of Kali Yuga, the quarrelsome age, how people are suffering in this age. And so, towards the end, Sukadeva Goswami is giving a hope. He's giving, despite all these difficulties, despite all these faults, there is something very special about this age. And that is being said here, Asti eko mahan gunaha. There is one good quality about this age of Kali Yuga. Kirtanadeva Krishnasya mukta sangha param vrajet. So, Kirtanadeva Krishnasya mukta sangha param vrajet. So, if this one quality, despite so many difficulties and faulty nature of this Kali Yuga, if one can take up to this one simple process, that is to glorify Krishna, Kirtanadeva Krishnasya. So, if one chants the holy name of Krishna, then immediately Mukta Sangha Param Vrajet. One can be freed from the material bondage and go back to the spiritual world. So, one doesn't have to be expert in Vedanta, one doesn't have to do mystic yoga, one doesn't have to philosophize, speculate, one doesn't have to go through the various Vedic rituals. Only by one simple method, which is Kirtanadeva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Param Vrajet. So, the process is so simplified for this age. So, this is the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Simply by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one is freed from all the material, all the faults of Kali Yuga. Actually, unless we don't experience some of the faults of Kali Yuga, sometimes we forget in what kind of world we are living. So, this process is so nice. It is so simplified. Unlike various other mantras that has to be chanted, for example, Gayatri mantra, one has to be on a Brahmanical platform to be able to chant and for the Gayatri mantra to be effective. And there are various other mantras which all require prerequisites, or they require certain qualifications for one to be able to execute chanting those mantras. But Hare Krishna Mahamantra is such, there is no rules and no regulation, there is no time, any time one can chant. And there is no prerequisite, whether you are born in this family, whether you are born in that family, it doesn't matter. In fact, one who chants can become purified even though born in a lower, so-called low family, but by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one becomes purified. And therefore, Prabhupada used to always face this. The people in India sometimes, they would Brahmanas, they would say, oh, how are you making these Westerners as Brahmanas? They are contaminated people. How are they made to perform puja? How are they allowed to do so many things? But Hare Krishna Mahamantra is so potent that by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, even though one may have certain base qualities at the time of birth, but because of chanting one gets purified. And one can be elevated to become more than a Brahmana. So, this simple process which is given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not very easy to understand. Although it is so simple, because it is so simple, sometimes it is very difficult for us to understand the significance of it. And therefore, there is also a nice story that is given. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains this story. This is in Srimad Bhagavatam from Madhva Bhashya. So, in this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is explaining about the ultimate goal of life or the ultimate treasure. So, in this, so everyone is searching for ultimate goal of life, ultimate perfection of life. And in this search, everyone is concerned how to find it. So, in order to illustrate how to find that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving a story. He's relating a story from the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, based on Madhva Bhashya for the chapters 5th canto, 5th chapter. There are a few verses in which Madhvacharya is giving this story, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains this. So, this story is about an astrologer called Sarvagnya, and this astrologer, a poor man comes to this astrologer to know his future. So, Sarvagnya, the astrologer, he says him to bring the horoscope and give him the horoscope. So, when Sarvagnya saw the horoscope, then he was at once astonished. He saw the poor man and he was very unhappy. He said that from your horoscope, I can see that you. So first thing he says is, why are you so unhappy? From your horoscope, I can see that you have a hidden treasure left to you by your father. So you have a treasure, but you are poor right now. You're capable to have something so much treasure, but unfortunately now you're appearing poor. So now, however, he says the reason why you are poor, although you have a treasure, is because your father, who went very far off, he did not tell you, he did not disclose you the place where the treasure is. But now, once you can identify the treasure which your father gave, then you will again become very rich and you will become very happy. So, now hearing this, the poor man also becomes very happy, but then he wants to find out where is that treasure, in which place is it, and how does he go and find it. Now, this instruction is given because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that the living entity, just like the poor man, is also suffering and unhappy, not finding the true treasure. The true treasure is given by Lord Krishna. Yet the living entity, not knowing the treasure that is given to him by his father, he is also struggling. So then the astrologer Sarvagnya instructs him what he should do and what he should not do. In which direction should he go to find the treasure, and in which direction he should not go to find the treasure. So here it is said, don't dig on the southern side of your house to find the treasure, for if you do so, you will be attacked by a poisonous wasp and will be baffled. So he says, don't go towards the southern side. There are some poisonous wasps, and you will be attacked by them, and you will not find the treasure, but rather you will find the pain actually. So he says, don't go in that direction. Then he also says that he should not go towards north, he should not go towards west, but rather he should go only towards east. Now, what are those so here we could see that the southern side is filled with wasp, but what are the other sides? So on the one side there is performance of ritualistic processes. So on the western side there is an impediment in the form of yaksha, an evil spirit who protects the treasure. The idea is that the hidden treasure can never be found by one who asks the favor of a yaksha in order to attain it. The result is that one will be killed by the yaksha. So on the western side there is a yaksha who is protecting the treasure, and one who goes and tries to take the help of yaksha will be killed. And this yaksha is said to be the speculative mind. The speculative mind and the process of speculating to realize the ultimate truth or ultimate goal of life is said to be very dangerous. You may take its help, but it will kill you. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, don't go in that direction. Then in the northern direction, there is the what's northern direction? So in the other side there is this the process of meditational yoga, by which one thinks that one can, so it is said here, searching for the treasure by means of the meditational yoga process is like is another process by which one might try to acquire some sort of mystic powers. But that is not all in all. It is not the ultimate self-realization. So, similarly, taking to the ritualistic process, that is neither also the real process to actually understand one's ultimate goal. So, the ultimate goal is different from the process of ritualistic process, from the process of yoga, and from the process of speculative self jnana marga. But rather, it is said that one should search for the hidden treasure in the eastern direction, where the process of devotional service in full Krishna consciousness is present. Indeed, that process of devotional service is a perpetual hidden treasure, and one attains to it, it becomes perpetually rich. One who is poor in devotional service to Krishna is always in need of material gain. So, this is the very important point. So, if you do not have devotional service to Krishna, if you are poor in that, you will be always after material gain. So, that is a test. If we are after looking for some material gain, either gross or subtle, that means that we are lacking devotional service. As soon as we have devotional service, this vacuum of not having something material will not come into our life. So, that treasure to obtain is the real treasure, to obtain devotional service to Krishna. Sometimes he suffers the bites of poisonous creatures, and sometimes he is baffled. Sometimes he follows the philosophical process of monism and thereby loses his identity, and sometimes he is swallowed by a great serpent. It is only by abandoning all this and becoming fixed in Krishna consciousness, devotional service to the Lord, that one can actually achieve the perfection of life. So, this simple process of how to become a devotee of Lord Krishna is very practically demonstrated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's own behavior. That is something very, very extraordinary. Prabhupada says, just like the teacher may say this is A, B, C, D, not because teacher does not know, just because the student does not know, the teacher is taking the role of teaching that A, B, C, D. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, although the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is coming down to teach us how to practice devotional service, how to behave as a devotee, how to act according to a devotee, what one should reject, what one should accept, how one should conduct one's activities. So, all that is given by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because without having an example, we cannot perform activities. Unless we don't have an ideal example, a common man cannot follow, cannot fathom how to do something. Even though there may be devotional service, how do I practice bhakti? There are so many methods of bhakti. Even in bhakti, there are so many different kinds of processes talked about by different sampradayas. So, what is that is the right method by which one can awaken one's ultimate goal? That is by practical demonstration Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given through his teachings, through his own behavior, through instructing his his disciples, who further carried on this mission of spreading this knowledge, and they also exhibited by their own behavior how to obtain to this Param Vrajet, the highest spiritual abode that one can go. How can one go there? So, this simple thing of how to become a devotee, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the process of devotional service, is simplified to the bare minimum, very, very simplified. One can learn in 30 seconds how to chant Hare Krishna mantra, and if one goes on chanting Hare Krishna mantra, one can perfect one's life. If one is very, very simple and just follows this one thing, in 30 seconds he hears, learns, and goes on chanting, perfected. One can become a devotee of the Lord simply by chanting. So, this is very uniqueness of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that despite so many complexities, so many difficulties in this age of Kali Yuga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is pointing towards the ultimate treasure. He is demonstrating by his own example how to obtain that treasure. So, those are few things about the wonderful aspects of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's method of attaining highest spiritual perfection in this age of Kali Yuga. And as Prabhupada says, we should all take to that and help further the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by giving this method, Yare Dekho Tare Kaho Krishna Upadesh. So one should take to this process of devotional life as instructed, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also wants that this to be distributed to others. So if we can make that as our goal, that will make us further progress in our spiritual life. And Mahaprabhu likes Sankirtana, it means coming together and participating. So this is a wonderful opportunity where we can pray for the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and engage more in Sankirtana, and we ourselves participate. And I'll stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Gaura Nitai ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.